All right, we have talked about this before. Actually, originally when the city came up with the plan, I think we may have had the mayor on at the time, this pedestrianization of parts of downtown, of St. Catherine Street, in a pretty wide swath, from about McGill College right up until Guy, that area there. And I remember at the time, we had heard from merchants, we heard from Glenn Castanera of the Downtown Merchants Association about businesses being concerned that this would basically kill business. They were worrying about people, of course, who'd be out on the streets all night. And the city, at that point, we didn't hear anything else. And now we're hearing that the city is talking to merchants about their plan, not changing it, just talking kind of late in the game. But we're also finding out that the opposition and the woman who will be running against Luc Rabouin in the municipal election, Soraya Martinez-Ferrada, the leader of Ensemble Montreal right now, does not like this plan either, but actually has a different plan that they think would work better. She is on the line. Soraya, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Aaron.
So let me begin by asking this original plan. And as I said, I remember at the time we were talking and hearing from businesses, and I'm reading even today, businesses think, and again, Glenn Castanera, who heads the Downtown Merchants Association, says it's a mistake. Clearly, it's a mistake. And he thinks it would basically be a death knell for businesses. So what is it that you want to do? What's wrong with this plan?
So when you have such a big opportunity, which we have right now, because we do have to rebuild the outdated water and sewer pipes that it's downtown on St. Catherine Street, but that gives us a huge opportunity to propose a redevelopment that takes into account the merchants and the citizens that live there. And I think right now there's a breach of trust with the business community downtown, with this administration, that didn't take into account their worries. What are those worries? Well, how can I make sure that I'll get, deliveries to the business? How do I make sure that police can circulate in the case of an emergency? There's a lot of questions that have not been answered, and it all goes to the fact that in phase one of the St. Catherine Street, it got a huge acceptance rate. 85% of people said that was the right way to do it. And what did they do? They enlarged the sidewalks. They kept a one-lane traffic, and they made a beautiful project with green spaces and more trees. And I think that's what we're proposing, because we have to not kill downtown. We have to make sure people will go downtown. And so we have to actually listen to the people that are actually living there and try to make business work downtown.
It's interesting because when you hear from businesses down there, and we've talked to people who run businesses who are not real happy with this plan, the idea of it killing downtown, I think, is one of them said. It seems to me, here's what I don't understand. The Plante administration seems to suggest that, you know what, it's responding to what they call overwhelming demand from residents in the area as well as the universities, which basically does not address the obvious fact, and I think you point this out in the interview you did today, that there's a 25% vacancy rate in downtown businesses. I mean, it's appalling sometimes to actually drive down St. Catherine Street and see how many businesses are either for rent or have closed down or boarded up.
And what's really worrying is that in the last 3 years, we went from 18% to 20% to 25% vacancy rate, which is huge. It's 1 out of 4 stores closed down. This is a lot of unvitality of our economic street that is St. Catherine as we knew it. So we have to make sure that we're supporting merchants, we're supporting the citizens, and we're doing this in a way that maybe in the long term we get to a pedestrian street, but we're not there. We're not there because the downtown, that's not what it needs right now. And what it needs, it's, yes, a redevelopment that will get people to go downtown again, but making sure that we're responding to these issues that are very important. I mean, again, the SPVM, the police, actually committed a report. We're not in favor of this plan. And I think, again, I mean, the business community feel that there is a breach of trust right now with this administration. And I think having a plan that makes more sense, it's what we should be doing. So my team will be presenting a motion, as I said this morning, in the City Council to make sure that hopefully the administration goes back and prioritize the same model that we had in phase one for St. Catherine.
So just to explain that model, the original idea there, you just outlined it a minute ago, but for people just to understand, this is not simply about saying, no, we're going to leave things as they are. You're still planning on making changes, but incorporating, for example, traffic as well.
Yes, and, get a green corridor, wider sidewalks, street furniture for pedestrians, allowing traffic for lanes for police to circulate, business to get their deliveries, and a city to collect garbage and clear the snow. I mean, that's what the phase one gives you, and that's what I think the street St. Catherine needs for the future. And we'll see, and have a project that is adaptable and flexible for the future. That makes sense.
What about merchants? As we said, it's terrible to see so many stores, so many people either going out of business or boarding up. Have you had discussions with merchants or with the head of the association? What have they been of?
Well, they have asked meetings for the city. I think they're in conversation with the administration, Plant Fabricants administration. Hopefully, they'll be listened to, and hopefully, we'll have a change that will receive excitement by the merchants and people. Because, I mean, we do have to have more accessibility, and we have to make sure that we're listening to the residents and the merchant. And what I'm hearing is that they're an open conversation that's happening now, so that's a good thing. And hopefully, we'll see if there's some changes that the city will do for the street.
So we're still, 6-7 months away from a municipal election. It doesn't happen until November. You and I have chatted a couple of times. What's reaction been from people you've talked to? Because I will tell you, every time we open the lines here and talk about something the city has done, there's a lot of anger towards this administration. What are you hearing?
Well, I'm hearing that a lot of people don't feel listened to, and this is one of the things that I've said to you in when we met a couple of weeks ago, and that's what I'm hearing a lot. People don't feel listened to. When you have a consultation as wide as the one that we had for Camille Hood for the Montreal Park, and we are still doing the same thing, we have to listen to Montrealers, and we have to do things for our city. Don't compare our city to other cities. Yes, we have to do better. Yes, we have to dream and have aspirations and ambitions for our city. But we have to make sure that we're listening to Montrealers. And that's what I'm hearing right now, that Montrealers don't feel listened to.
By the way, with respect to Mount Royal Park or Camille Hood, and I know that that's something, and we brought that up, and that's something you would reverse if you win the election. Did I read this right, that there is now a question of one of the contracts that was awarded? There's something being brought forward by someone at Ensemble Montreal?
Well, we already did that. We sent a letter to have a request, an inquiry on how the bidding was done for the contract. So, but what I said is that if I am the next mayor of the city, I will go back to the drawing boards for Camille Hood. I will go back to the drawing boards for St. Catherine Street, and I will make sure that every time we are have a public consultations, that we're taking into account the recommendations that the office will give our administration. I think that's the basic of this is democracy. It's having an independent body that does recommendations to a city, and we have to make them and listen to those recommendations.
Does that mean holding another public consultation on the issue or not?
On Camille Hood?
Yeah.
No, I think we have one already. It's one of the biggest ones we had.
Yeah.
More than 30,000 people talked about what it meant for them, Camille, and what it meant for them to have access for Camille Hood and the top of the mountain. So I think we have done that, and I think we can actually just apply the Article 1 of that recommendation, which is keep a line, keep traffic on Camille Hood, and secure pedestrian and a bicycle path for Camille Hood. And I think we can do that.
I thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Hope we can chat again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
Soraya Martinez-Ferrada. She's the leader now of Ensemble Montreal. Will be running for mayor of Montreal come our municipal election in November.